good afternoon, everyone. Together with our associate sponsor, PCCW Global, we have put together a panel session this afternoon on the topic of building a smart city when IoT meets 5G. If you have any questions for our panelists, do send them across via the live discussion function that is shown on the right side of the video. And now I pass the time over to our moderator of the session, Craig, SVP of Mobility Products and Marketing of PCCW Global, to kickstart the session. Over to you, Craig.
Thank you, Kim, for the introduction. I'm the moderator for this session, Building a Smart City Where IoT Meets 5G. As a quick introduction to this session, PCCW Global and its parent, Hong Kong Telecom, have been involved in smart city projects for many years. Personally, I've been involved in smart city projects since 2007, with the planning for a fibre rollout and providing free government Wi-Fi were hallmarks of our smart city. Now, 13 years later, smart cities and the provision of services supporting green, economic, and enhanced living in cities is becoming a reality. In Hong Kong as a smart city, we've delivered smart parking meters, which also deliver urban intelligence, smart traffic devices and traffic management, smart airport services, and connected vehicles, where we're now trialling V2X services. And recently, we've announced 5G services in the city. However, when we look at enablers such as cloud services, the development of multi-access edge computing, artificial intelligence, and the many startups who are developing innovative IT solutions, we, Hong Kong Telecom and PCCW Global, are predicting that 5G will be a super enabler to accelerate digital transformation in cities. That is, we see 5G will put IoT on steroids. In addition, COVID-19, rather than slowing the pace of digital transformation, has done something quite remarkable. It has forced us to rethink processes and methods, and even forced us to reevaluate our needs and find or invent new ways to get things done. So let me now ask each of the panelists to give a short introduction to themselves and their business. So let's start with Jack. Jack, you're on mute.
Okay, my apologies. Hi, my name is Jack Robinson, and I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for SciPod Solutions based in Norway. We provide secure IoT products and services for tracking and monitoring of people, assets, vehicles, and large equipment. Our company has a strong presence and network in the Middle East and North Africa, where one of the major smart city projects is the new capital of Cairo. Plans for the city include a new parliament and presidential palace, Egypt's largest airport, the tallest tower in Africa, Middle East's largest opera house. They're building a $20 billion entertainment district. They have a giant urban park, which is actually bigger than Central Park. And contracts have been signed for everything from a new $834 million business park to a citywide digital security system. And Honeywell will be installing over 6,000 wireless cameras across Cairo as a smart city. Their vision includes smart monitoring of traffic congestion and accidents, as well as smart utilities to reduce consumption and cost, smart buildings, energy management, including renewable energy, utilizing the Internet of Things to save power consumption, as well as building a new optical fiber infrastructure to connect every building. In addition, they're also planning to build a 90 square meter solar farm to be able to power these IoT implementations, which are also a part of the mix. And in addition to this, this new city of Cairo, again, being a smart city, intends to be the first city in the country to be cashless. So with 5G coming to the market, and as it starts to gain adoption, we see that it's going to impact basically every industry, making transportation safer, remote healthcare more easier and possible, precision agriculture, digitalized logistics, and much more applications to become a reality. So SitePod is deeply involved in developing our solutions and products to support this goal. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Jack. Taras?
Hi, everybody. My name is Taras Vankovic. I'm based here in Singapore. I'm a 20-year serial entrepreneur that's built about 5 companies here in various emerging technology spaces. I started in China 20 years ago, and I'm now based in Singapore since 10 years. My company here, of which I'm the founder, is H3 Dynamics, a 5-year-old IoT, robotics, and cloud-based digital services company, which is working worldwide with enterprise and public sector customers. So what do we do? Well, within the broader field of Internet of Things, we are working on a new category, which is the Internet of Robots. So what does that mean exactly? Well, we connect autonomous mobile robots to the Internet, and we give them a job, which is to scan the physical world and basically collect unstructured data in the form of images or video or LiDAR information. The robots can be aerial, they can be ground-based, they can be marine-based, and these telerobots take care of data acquisition, or the data acquisition part of the IoT chain. To make them autonomous in the field, we developed a shelter system for those robots that acts as a charging, edge computing, and communications hub, so that the robots can come back to base and send the data that they collected to the cloud. This is the data transfer piece of the IoT chain. To monetize the overall solution, we created an increasingly large array of digital services on a marketplace, which we placed on cloud. It's kind of like an app store for connected robotics, destined to service large regional or global enterprise clients and public sector clients. We have 2 main fields of commercial application. The first field is safety inspection of large, difficult access structures and sites. And the second field is emergency response, live video analytics on demand. But we don't build robots, we don't build drones, we just create the hardware and the software infrastructure that makes all of these autonomous devices capable of operating in the field by themselves. The obvious use is faraway locations, so solar farms in Australia or mining dams in Brazil. But because we're based in Singapore, which is, by the way, the smartest city in the world, right? Hong Kong. We also started in the urban environment here 3 years ago, okay, with a view to go fully autonomous in the next years in a city environment. Our first smart city application is tied to the safety inspection of high-rise buildings, using autonomous drone systems that scan the outer surfaces of these buildings and look out for safety challenges of the structures. We are currently inspecting about 60 buildings a month, and most likely will increase to about 500 buildings a month in Singapore alone in the coming 6 months from now. And the goal for this technology is to go faster, safer, better, and cheaper in the scale-up of safety inspections across mega cities in Asia. So that's my intro, and looking forward to the session.
Thank you, Taras. Kevin, I'll pass it over to you now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Lin. I'm the head of global sales and business development in Hongdian. We have our headquarters in Shenzhen. As we all know that Shenzhen has always been a pioneer in China at least, and in the 5G and smart city as well. On the 18th of August, Shenzhen has announced as the global first 5G standalone coverage city with over 46,000 5G stations. So this means really the pioneer in the 5G development, and the city has selected about top verticals to adapt these new technologies on its innovation path, like telemedical, public transportation, police affairs, especially during the COVID-19, and industrial IoT as well. And 5G applications have been rolled out widely in the harbor, in the airport, and smart building as well. And seeing is believing. As a solutions provider, we apply multiple solutions for our own building as well and open for visit. Our company Hongnet is now building a new headquarters in Shenzhen with lots of sensors inside, big data, smart energy, smart lighting, even smart cleaning. So buildings are the basic component of one city and generating about 30% of the carbon. If we can take them all away, we can build a more green city as well. And this won't happen without the technologies like 5G and IoT. I'm very happy to share some of the progress in 5G and smart city today with all of you. Yeah. Great.
Thank you, Kevin. Look, you guys are all bringing solutions to the market that are all particularly exciting, certainly in the smart city space. However, I'm going to ask a general question. We hear the term digital transformation all the time. Something's being digitally transformed here, it's being digitally transformed there. So in your view, what do you think digital transformation means in the context of smart cities? Does anyone want to start off answering that question? Taras?
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead. I mean, the topic for us on digital transformation, which is basically driving many of our customers in both enterprise and public sectors, is about maintenance and operation efficiency. And being able to conduct maintenance and operations at a very large scale. In a smart city, in our context, which is Asia, we're talking mega city scale, hundreds of thousands of buildings per city, right? With less and less people able to do the job at scale. So we need digital transformation to help become more efficient, to secure the safety of the citizens, so that all these structures are kept safe at all times. In order to do that cost efficiently, digital transformation helps to track the condition of all of these structures. It helps to create a footprint in terms of how and what type of maintenance activities are conducted on the structures. And we, in terms of how we interact with this need for digital transformation, we support in automation of the data collection, automation of the data processing, and the automated generation of final reports, safety inspection reports, which is used to provide, let's say, an overview of where the biggest problems or the biggest challenges are, so that the operators of building structures, for example, can allocate their resources more effectively. Without the knowledge on the condition of all these structures at the same time, it's very difficult to prioritize the resources. So digital transformation helps to achieve this prioritization and gain on efficiency in terms of impact.
Thank you, Taras. Kevin, you mentioned that there's a lot of work being done in Shenzhen in terms of 5G rollout, building automation, but really, in your mind, what is the digital transformation that's actually happening in that city that's driving these changes?
Thank you, Craig. And as a solutions provider, we see digital transformation as an enabler for multiple verticals or multiple industries to transform from the way they behave in the past and to the new way they can gain more efficiency or improve operation. So I have been hearing a metaphor recently that the new technology like 5G is like electricity in the many decades before, right? So there were still many verticals and scenarios are not using electricity at that time, but candles only. So right now, I think who can bring technologies like 5G or digital transformation in those candle industries will make a lot of money. And that means solution providers like us could have more customers, but we need to work harder. But in case by case, there are multiple scenarios. Like I would like to give an example about the aeroplane maintenance right now. In the past, a traditional way that the experts or the really engineer from the company like Boeing or this kind of company, they need to come and visit the aeroplane. It's very expensive and normally it could be many months inspection, all these things. But with the technologies like 5G or new technology with high definition camera, it can be done remotely and very accurate as well. Efficiency is improved immense and lots of cost saving as well. So we can see digital transformation started long ago, but with new technology comes in, lots of possibilities are unlocked, are enabled. That's what we see, really a better future about this entire society of the city.
Thank you, Kevin. Jack, you mentioned that you're doing a lot of work in the Middle East. So what are the digital transformation visions do you see in the Middle East that's actually driving a lot of changes in this movement towards smart city, the use of 5G and IoT technologies?
Thank you, Craig. Well, for SitePod, you know, the transformation is slowly adapted, as Kevin had mentioned. If we look back in history, for people to adopt to new technologies is extremely slow. People first had records, and then it took a long time for them to adopt over to 8-tracks and then the cassettes and then the CDs, and now everybody's basically on Spotify, but it's a long transition. And so we have to prepare for customers that are in regions of the world which do not have some of the modern technologies that are available, and need to be able to slowly plan for their transition, going from an analog way of doing things, a manual process of doing things, over to a more automated digital form of conducting their business. So there's a transition that has to be planned for, both in very quickly reacting countries that are able to adopt quickly, and also for those countries that are going to take some time.
Thank you, Jack. Kevin, next question is for you. I'm going to try and mix and match the questions rather than any particular order. But in the press, there's been a lot of discussion about the fragmentation in IoT, which is that, yeah, there are IoT solutions available, but they're struggling to talk to each other or interact with each other in any sort of structured way. I mean, how are you dealing with this fragmentation in the IoT market in terms of delivering solutions to your customers?
Me, right?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. I think that's the charm of the IoT industry, right? Because I don't believe in standardized solution fitting for all, right? That's the original of the whole world. So there should not be solution fitting for all, to be honest. Eventually, IoT solutions, or we call digital transformations or new technology, will have to match to each and every industry we have today. And we help them on the innovation way with advanced features, which could improve their efficiency, and hence we can increase the whole kind of productivity of the entire society. And I think that's where the solutions providers should focus on instead of trying to have a unique or standard things fitting for all. So the solutions deep into the scenarios and solving the challenges will make value. And no Turing will never, one Turing do everything, right? For example, we are also manufacturing hardwares. So in some of the industries, they need something really special, analog and something special. And some industry, they need something else. And some of people in the company saying, why we don't have everything all in one, right? We build in one. Oh, good idea. We did that. And we offering to the customers when we facing competitions. Oh, nightmare, right? So your cost is so high, you're having everything, but customers don't need everything, right? One industry, they need something really special. So we come back and say, the best way is to have architecture of a modularized. So we put in things, plug and play whenever necessary. They are on this way, but we can see already the fragmentation is now stopping giant players to standardize and unifying everything. Because when standardization comes in, giant players will come in picture. They will take everything in the market. So the fragmentation in this industry allow lots of possibilities and space for small and medium players to play. So that's how I see this one. This is really charming. I like this industry. Yeah. Great.
That's
maybe I can chime in if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to continue on your idea of 5G as the new electricity, I believe that in order to overcome this fragmentation issue, there should be more fluidity in how the different market players work with each other. So one way to do that, and I would say that this is all driven by the end user's need for, an outcome at the right price. The end user does not want the headache of a complex integration, right? So in order to achieve that, we believe in an open API approach. So we've designed all of our hardware and software on an open API architecture so that we can easily work with and integrate with different companies, whether it's hardware or software. Okay, so we believe in an economy, in an ecosystem, and in order to do that, we need to create the open standard. Okay, so and the third thing I would say is that our approach is try to make things simpler for the end user by making a deliberate choice as to what is the ultimate partner network to deliver the entire solution, right? So we basically put H3 Dynamics at the center point of a team of large companies, okay? There's no multilateral relationships, but many, I would say, one-to-one relationships with H3 Dynamics. And so we're kind of conducting like a symphony orchestra here in order to make things happen for the end user. So what does that mean concretely? Well, for example, if we are talking about global deployment for an enterprise client, we might work with a global SIN offering of PCCW. We might add in the cyber secure routers from Cisco, edge computing from Hewlett Packard, digital operation centers from NEC, so on and so forth, and package that as one entire system, which the customer doesn't really need to worry about in terms of implementation. So that's our approach in terms of fragmentation.
Yeah, I suppose that you make a good point there, Taras, in terms of the standardization. I suppose PCCW as a global platform provider needs to standardize and really tries to avoid fragmentation as much as possible in terms of the services. But Jack, I'd be interested to understand your opinion in relation to this topic.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. Yeah, absolutely. We face this challenge of fragmentation as I speak with you today. As a provider of IoT sensors and connectivity solutions, SciPod is seeing different requirements from different vertical industries. When it comes to connectivity, there's a various abundance amount of technologies to choose from that we, as a supplier of secure connectivity solutions, have to support and address. So I really agree with Taras's comment as having industry standards is extremely important for the success of IoT's deployment. When it comes to connectivity for some of these IoT sensors, we have Wi-Fi, we've got Bluetooth, we've got LoRa, we've got Zigbee, and then we've got 5G coming. And these are just some of the well-known wireless network technologies that are currently available for the IoT solutions. So providing connectivity to these various solutions for us that is cost-effective is very challenging. We need to be able to have a common connectivity solution that can talk to all these various sensors, because there's so many IoT sensors out there that have different purposes for measuring statistics or reporting back location services that need to be able to talk to a common platform. So we're addressing this by developing a multi-protocol solution where we have one simple box that can talk to all these various sensors depending on, regardless of what type of networking technology that has been chosen. So in addition to this, we also have the ability to, with our product, to be able to select which type of frequency that these sensors are communicating on, because as we know, with IoT and communications that we do have frequency bands that these devices need to communicate, because it is communicating on a data communication technology. So we need to make sure that we're not conflicting with other types of devices out in the world that may be communicating with the same frequencies. So for us, with the adoption of 5G coming, we need to see who the winners and losers are and then adapt our product strategies accordingly.
So Jack, you make a particularly good point in that the provision of IoT services into a campus or into a city is the network coverage is of 2G, 3G, Sigfox, LoRa, NB-IoT, Wi-Fi, etc. There's a number of technologies delivering these services already. And the topic of today's discussion is 5G and smart cities. So if we reflect on 5G, and 5G is relatively new, it has limited rollout, but it promises to deliver massive improvement in speed, latency, throughput. However, there's a feeling in the industry that 5G is really going to change things. In fact, Paul Berryman, who's a group CTO for Hong Kong Telecom, said that 5G will put IoT on steroids in terms of his belief, in terms of it could change the dynamics. Do you guys see that sort of view? Do you have that sort of view of 5G? Do you really see it change the dynamics of cities? And do you really seeing it as a future for your products and as your products evolve? And I'll ask. So who would like to respond to that question? Thank you, Terrace.
Yeah, so I'll start off. Basically, IoT or Internet of Things so far has been the communication of small packets of information from basic sensors, right? So 5G will do a couple of things. It will be able to host many more communications of such packets of information, small packets of information. But as far as we're concerned, in the introduction of an internet of robots, right, that are collecting video, high definition images, terabytes of data, we need 5G in the sense that 5G will be able to carry huge amounts of data over the network, much more data than just small packets of temperature readings, so on and so forth, which is what IoT has been mostly known for so far. Okay, so I think we're coming at the right time with our connected robotics. Transmission of video, if it can be through 5G, will provide clear images where analytics will be able to have a very high level of precision, which is what end users request. And the other part of this is safety. If we're talking about autonomous systems, and this ties to autonomous vehicles, but whether they're on the ground or in the air, we have been introducing autonomous drone systems in the city. And in order to increase their safety, which is a very important aspect of commercialization, we need proper airspace integration of these systems. And the safety and the speed of the network go hand in hand. Okay. And the other feature that is new that 4G technology and other kind of LTE solutions do not offer today, it's for the customer to take control, remote control of a robot, which could be operating somewhere very far away from where the customer may be. And the safe control of such robots is very difficult to do if there's latency as a result of a poor network communication. So high latency will be able to support safe control of such devices, which opens new use cases as well. So yes, there's definitely a change in the nature of the type of use cases that we will see in the marketplace. And I think it opens up a very science fiction-like world where we will see more autonomous devices around us.
Thank you for that, Teres. I've got a question for the audience, which relates to this particular topic. The question is, what are the smart city use cases where the advantages of 5G are worth paying for, compared with existing technologies, 3G, IP WAN, etc. So, Kevin, could I ask you to address that question? You mentioned before that you're rolling 5G out in Shenzhen, and there must be a good reason for it.
Yeah, I think also adding on top of Terra's that multiple applications, the unique things inside, those demands, those requirements cannot be met with 4G or 3G, right? Like a high data throughput, high definition of image, right? So before you download those high definition image with so much time, now you can download just in few seconds or at least minutes. It's very convenient. And on top of a high throughput, there's also a massive connectivity, right? So city is such a large ecosystem. So many things has to be connected. We are talking about levels much more than what we are talking before. And the most recent thing we see is the latency, right? Latency is really changing the feeling we have on technology. I take a very small example like ATM banking, right? We all have experience of fetching cash from the ATM. So sometimes you need to wait and then the money is calm, you have some noise over there and then you can get the money. But with really low latency, people are feeling what kind of ATM. It's like just in really a sub-second level, you can get the money out from the ATM. So that's sometimes in really traditional, very small corner, you can feel the differences. And there are also some big applications like a smart grid. And we all know the maintenance on a smart grid is a really challenging and risky task. The engineers has to climb up on so many towers, and then they have to eat, they have to take lunch or dinner over there and maintain all these things. But with 5G and drones nowadays, the high definition cameras over there, you can just peacefully and easily sitting on the ground and see what happened over there in real time, right? So that's improving the security, improving the efficiency, and also lots of cost saving. So we see multiple applications also happening nowadays. Like another example is in the mining industry. And we all hear lots of incidents as well nowadays that with mining, because it's very deep into the into the earth. Some is like 500 meters or 1 kilometers away from the ground. And in Shanxi province in China, we have built a 5G network under the ground, 500 meters. With so many sensors inside, you can really know that what happened inside over there. And then you can see so clearly on the ground that you can see like we are seeing each other. It's so clear. And based on this, you can introduce and develop further, introduce like some machines, some robots to mine it instead of people mining, and then transfer those mines back onto the ground. This, I think first level is security, right? So workers doesn't need to go deep into the ground, and then we can improve the security. The second is about, this is 24 hours operation. Also means business economy as well. So lots of possibilities are open or unlocked by this kind of new technology. That's what we have been seeing. There are also multiple applications on the way, but I would love to open some possibilities to the others as well. Yeah.
So Kevin and Taras, what you're saying is that 5G enables a significant feature enhancement to IoT use cases. As a result of that, there's economic advantage that the user gains, which means it's actually worthwhile paying for, on a business, at least on the business case basis. Jack, do you want to add to what the others have said?
Absolutely, Craig. Thank you. Yeah, I mean the power, as we said, 5G is on steroids. I mean there's a huge increase in performance, and as Kevin had mentioned about latency, I mean basically 5G is offering a 90% reduction in latency versus 4G today, a 10-time increase in connection density, 3 times the increase in spectrum efficiency, 100 times increase in traffic capacity, and 100-time increase in network efficiency. And with this type of power, we're really not too far away where smart cities become a reality. They're in process now and taking time. But unparalleled IoT powered experience will become the new norm. But we're not going to be able to get there without partners and companies like yourself, Craig, because it's all dependent on the telecom infrastructure that's going to support this vision of tomorrow. And just some use cases, some of the many hundreds of use cases, connected vehicles. I know Taras talked about UAVs and drones that are going to be with high quality cameras that are going to be performing a lot of tasks around the city. Self-driving cars, for example, can be a reality with 5G due to the throughput that they have and the data processing capabilities that 5G has. And we're talking about 5G networks handling and facilitating communication of everything on the road, from lampposts to gas stations to trash cans, but everything in the system and with the interest of safety and traffic management in mind. If you look at your smartphone, for example, there's huge advantages with 5G over 4G when it comes to coverage. We all find those dead spots, and previously hard to reach places will have much stronger signals that'll be guaranteed as a part of subscription services that companies like PCCW will offer to the end users. So the end users can expect extraordinary quality with their experience with their devices, where downloads will basically have no delay. So that leads to streaming and entertainment. The gaming industry, 5G is going to be able to bring virtual reality like it's never seen before, with augmented reality in 3D. So, with 5G coming, basically it's going to be able to deliver 1,000 times the capacity of 4G. And that's just going to build the foundation for extreme development in the IoT industry. You can just imagine use cases where there's, thousands and hundreds of different machines that are automating supply chain processes and just-in-time delivery of materials and manufacturing, to be able to be more effective and reduce downtime in their processes. So we see there's going to be a dramatic change. And is it worth the investment? Well, I guess it's be with them or not be with them, because I don't think there's going to be a choice. I think with the capabilities 5G is bringing, that adoption is going to happen. It's just going to take time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jack. I've got a question from the audience, and it raises an interesting ethical question. Okay, we see the use cases for 5G. We know it's going to be a lot more powerful. There'll be a lot more information collected, but there'll also be a lot more information collected about people and how they're using things, etc. So, in the world, as we develop these new technologies and use cases, do you see a problem in how we're going to manage personal privacy versus the government's the government's ability to actually deliver these enhanced services in the future? How are we going to handle facial recognition, which will be greatly improved by this service, or even biometric ID? How do you guys see governments managing that somewhat ethical dilemma of public versus private information?
Yeah, I'll just say a few words on that. I mean, cities are full of people, right? So if we're implementing this kind of new technology in smart cities, we're not going to be able to avoid crossing paths with numerous people. So we've come across this challenge in the past few years already, and we figured out ways to overcome the challenge. So in terms of data rights, and as well as what to do when we capture images that include people, right? So we've developed software that is very similar to what Google has when it does its mapping activities. We blur out people's faces, or we black out windows on buildings automatically, and just focus our attention on the areas that don't involve what is behind or on a window. And so this is an automatic feature of our solution, and was a requirement actually by our customers, which also suffered from the similar issue in terms of privacy protection and privacy laws. So, I mean, we're here in Asia. Privacy laws differ from country to country, but there's still fundamentals there. And we need to make sure that the technology accounts for this privacy issue from the beginning. Okay, so we apply even artificial intelligence capability to ensure that we protect the privacy of citizens.
Thank you, Taraz. I gather, Jack, you've experienced this too in your implementations of services?
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. I mean, this is exactly what our company specializes in, is providing secure IoT solutions to the market. And, you know, as Tara said, you know, protection of people's identity is extremely important. People are concerned about, you know, their picture and things like that, what's happening with it on Facebook. So there's a big concern there. But even more importantly is customers' data. This is, you know, this is can bring down a company if there's been a data breach. So implementing IoT solutions, security must be at the foremost considered in any IoT solution that's deployed. If you think about a smart city, for example, where there's going to be smart measurements of your electric, or you know, being able to open up your house, or specific things that are of your own property that you're using IoT solutions, you want to make sure that the data that's being transferred, both from the sensors up to the cloud to whatever software application that's being used to monitor your IoT devices, is to ensure that there's end-to-end security built into your solution. Because if there's one thing that will hamper the acceptance of smart cities IoT solution, is a lack of security. once there's a major security breach or a loss of data due to an IoT system which is not properly secured, is going to have a major impact on the acceptance and deployment of IoT solutions in the future.
Thank you, Jack. Kevin, do you see that as an issue in terms of the rollout of solutions in Shenzhen or China?
Yeah, thank you, Gray. I think myself based in Europe actually, so GDPR is quite. No, it's okay. My headquarters based in Shenzhen, so I also know what's happening over there. So I think before this kind of 5G deployment, I think like cameras, high definition cameras, it's quite sensitive. But the most deployed camera countries is not China. Okay, before that was in the UK. So and after that, China took over. I think privacy and all this information security is not a new question. It was always there, and maybe at that time not that popular. People doesn't care about that. But at this time, so many data are collected, so many informations are now exposed that not according to the allowance of the people. So I think security should be in terms of multiple level, right? So data collection and data transmitting or with connectivity, communication, and most importantly, how people use those data. I think the level 1 and level 2 is kind of solution providers we can guarantee with technology, right? So we can build really secure devices and so secure connectivity like PCCW Global. But how people use those data in a safe way has to be linking to the regulation. So regulation has to also step in parallel, right? Otherwise, technology step too forward and then regulations falling behind. The unbalance will cause lots of problems. So that's my view, that the regulation has to also think of new technology, how technology impacts to the society, and then people have to operate or have to behave under some regulation. Otherwise, there are lots of problems will be there. So I think this is not a new question. It's some questions like before we faced already. We had experience to handle that. I do believe we have a capability to handle this kind of problem in the future as well. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Kevin. Look, we're sort of running out of time, but I've got one question to ask. And for those audience questions that we haven't answered, I'll answer them offline with the team. But I mentioned in my introduction that there's been a lot of press and a lot of talk about the impact of COVID-19 on IoT and 5G. Generally, what they're saying is that COVID-19 is actually accelerating the pace of innovation in IoT and also not impacting 5G rollout to any degree whatsoever. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you see the COVID-19, which has impacted us, it's probably I've lived in isolation for so long now, I'm not quite sure what non-isolation is, but do you see that impacting your industry, or is it accelerating what's happening? What are your feelings about that, and what are your thoughts? Anyone want to start?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Taras, yeah, Taras.
No, it's up to you, Kevin. Why don't you go ahead and then I'll join up after.
Okay, I would love to mention that, yeah, COVID-19 really pressed the button for some industries to speed up, but for lots of industries, they slow down. And what I see globally, that one application really got speeding up. That's because of the e-commerce. So many parcels has to be delivered every day to the house. And the smart parcel locker solutions really got speeded up across the global. That helping people to avoid people interaction, because people can operate by themselves in front of the parcel locker to receive parcel and to send parcel also. So this kind of application is the positive thing I see, that to help people in the society. Then also gave me inspiration to play in this industry, that technology can help really, yeah. But for many verticals, it's really a negative impact, and we can understand. But there are always pros and cons, and then see how we can adapt to the new situation and then use the new technology to solve those challenges. Yeah, Taras, please.
Sure. I mean, just to add on that, I would say that the COVID-19, what are the top keywords that are associated to COVID-19 today? It's telepresence, telecommuting, telehealth, telemedicine. All these tele acronyms have basically exploded in the recent months as a need, because while we're all kind of stuck at home, right? Or stuck in our own countries with no ability to travel internationally, we can now see the need for all this telepresence technology to come into play. And we did not anticipate COVID-19 5 years ago when we started this company. We thought it would be just more convenient to avoid traveling. And so now that COVID-19 is here, there's a real burning need for something like the Mars rover, but on Earth, right? I mean, I guess you're all familiar with the Mars rover program, right? The whole purpose of the Mars rover is, instead of sending human beings on Mars, you have a robot over there that's discovering the planet for us, okay? Well, under COVID-19, we're in a very similar situation on Earth. We cannot travel anywhere. We cannot go to those places to do checks. So what we do is we just place the robots on location, we connect them to the network, and we let them do those checks for us, all right? So that we don't just stay paralyzed and at home. Operations can continue running, right? We can still operate. And we just, instead of doing things that are maybe a little bit tedious or far away to require travel, well, we basically connect robots to the network and to the cloud and to some digital services. And then the humans just focus on applying their unique capabilities and expertise to validate certain processes, because you still need humans to validate the overall data process. But basically COVID-19 has created that, I would say, point of no return, okay, in society, where I don't think it will ever be like before. And because those technologies are now entering the market faster, people will realize that they won't need to actually do those type of things that they used to do. It's just a very special time for all of the technologies we're talking about here today.
Thank you, Taras. Jack, do you have any comment?
Yeah, thank you, Craig. I think one of the main focuses of organizations today as a result of COVID-19 is obviously employee safety. And, many organizations has taken, the work at home principle as the norm. And as Taras has said, due to COVID-19, travel is basically that. For me, for example, this is the first time in my life I haven't been on an airplane in such a long time. So we have to change the way we work. But again, safety is the most important thing for any organization and their employees. So even though there is this paradigm shift to work at a work at home principle, for many industries, it's not possible, where there is a need to be on site at the workplace. So it's imperative that employees that are required to be at the work site are ensured safe working conditions. And that's not only due to COVID. There's other elements in the world that have impact on our personal safety, such as terrorism, extreme weather conditions, industrial environments that have a natural element of high risk, like Kevin mentioned in the mines and having to go deep into the earth. There is a risk for these employees that has to be considered. For me, for example, am I safe when I walk out the door of my home, when I go food shopping or go to the dentist, or if my son is going to school, or if I'm going to the post office? It's physical safety as well as the security of digital safety, which is extremely important in SciPod's opinion. And these are the two major critical success factors that we need to be considered for the success of this IoT transformation.
Thank you, Jack. In the last couple of minutes remaining, I'm just going to ask a very simple question. In your industry, what is the killer? What do you consider, and also with smart IT and smart cities, what do you guys consider the killer application? Travis?
Sure. In terms of killer application, I mean, look, there's a universe of possibilities, right? And I think you mentioned earlier in one of your questions, what's worth paying for? Okay, I think those two questions are kind of tied together as far as we're concerned. So we need to be sure that we choose the right digital service to bring to market, one that's worth paying for, and if it's worth paying for, obviously, and if the market's big enough, then it could become that killer app, right? So we see anything related to public safety, anything that saves lives, anything that reduces risk and liability for enterprise and public sector as areas of interest for the killer apps. Okay, so of course we are studying that carefully. We've already engaged on mega city structural inspection in the case of smart cities in the Asia context. Okay, there's so many cities in the region that are over 10 or 15 million inhabitants. That the scale of the cities is such that there is huge risk and liability associated to the safety of these structures. So that's one of the aspects where we see killer apps, because of the sheer scale of the application itself, right? So we believe that we're starting with a killer app when it comes to safety inspection for dangerous structures, okay, that where people could effectively die as a result of falling debris from a structure. So we're focusing on that, and we're on the lookout for some of these new use cases which could become killer apps as well.
Kevin, what about yourself?
I think we have been discussing this topic with multiple players. We do believe that 5G and high definition camera would be one of the very popular applications in the next phase. So we can see that AI is so powerful on image processing, and 5G will allow high definition image to come in and so unlock so many applications and scenarios. We see that already happening, and we do see in the future this will go on, and then we'll really rock the smart city, yeah, with camera. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Kevin. Jack?
Yeah, for us, Craig, what 5G is bringing is for us is location services. Knowing where my stuff is accurately is extremely important. And one of the downfalls that we have with tracking and positioning systems today is when it comes to inside tracking. We all experience that with our telephones. When we go into a building or we go down in the basement, all of a sudden we're losing our signal. It's the same thing for location services. It's an extreme challenge today that when somebody's outside, we can be found with GPS, but when somebody goes inside a building, this is also critical to know it's the person's exact location. And 5G is bringing a leap year of tremendous gains in regards to providing much more accurate and better location services for inside tracking of not only people, but also of things.
Thank you, Jack. Look, I think our time is up, so I'd like to thank Therese, Kevin, and Jack. Thank you very much for your insights, your thoughts, and your expertise. I very much enjoyed the answers to the questions I asked, the audience asked. I'd like to thank the audience for their participation. And as I mentioned, if we didn't get your question, I'll address those questions offline. And I'd like to thank Move and Kim for the support and allowing us to put this panel on. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you very much, speakers, for sharing your insights and expertise this afternoon. Do feel free to get connected with our speakers by clicking on their profiles that is shown right below the video. And also, if you're interested to find out more solutions from PCCW Global, do feel free to get connected with the PCCW Global team as well by searching for them under the attendees tab. I'm sure they'll be happy to get connected. Our next session will be a panel session that is on shared multimodal cities, and it will start at 5 p.m. Singapore time. See you in the next few minutes. Thank you so much to all our speakers again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.